Hey guys, I was going to make only one video on Kieran, but it would be just too long, over 15 minutes long, and I don't want to bore you guys. So I've decided to split up the video in two parts, part 1 and part 2. On this video being part 1, I will be explaining my theory on Kieran. Part 2 is going to be about the proof that might indicate that Kieran is the killer in Season 2. I know that a lot of you believe that Kieran might end up being the killer, so on this video I will be explaining my theory on Kieran. Without further ado, let's begin. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't hate Kieran. I think he's a decent character, but for some strange reason, I can't seem to trust this guy. He reminds me a lot of Billy Loomis. He's very mysterious. And in case you didn't know, in Season 1, his father, Sheriff Hudson, was killed by Piper Shaw. And some people believed that's one of the reasons why Kieran is the killer this season. He wants to exact revenge on the death of his father. But I believe this goes even deeper than that. This is beyond the death of his father he wants to exact revenge on, in case he is the killer. In Season 1, in the pilot episode, we learn that Kieran has an interest and knowledge on Gothic novels. For some strange reason, after that, we don't actually get to see more of it. For some strange reason, the whole Gothic novel is actually ignored later in season. It's ignored. We don't see it again. However, in Season 2, Kieran's cousin Eli actually tells Emma that Kieran was a completely different person before he came to Lakewood. When he was in Atlanta, he was a completely different person. Now in Season 2, we also learned that Kieran's parents, his mother and stepfather, died in a car accident, and we learned that Kieran was inside the car the day that accident actually happened. Kieran had an argument with his stepfather which caused the accident, causing Kieran to actually have guilt over the death of his parents. But now that I've mentioned those details about Kieran, it's time for me to explain my theory on Kieran. If you've been watching the first season of Scream, then you should know that Kieran's father and Emma's mother were actually friends. And they were actually close, and they actually worked together constantly. Kieran's father was the sheriff of Lakewood, and Emma's mother was the coroner. She examined dead bodies, committed autopsies, I don't know, stuff like that. But this is what my theory is about. Sometime when Emma was a little girl, when Emma's father left Emma's mother and he disappeared, Emma's mother, Maggie, actually had to raise Emma all by herself. And by the time that Emma's mother became a coroner, she began to work with the sheriff of Lakewood, being Kieran's father. At that time, Emma's mother, Maggie, was actually single at the time. She was struggling to raise Emma all by herself. So maybe there was something that happened between Sheriff Clark Hudson and Maggie that we don't know about. And we don't know why Kieran's parents, his mother, divorced his father. For some strange reason, we don't actually know. But I believe that maybe there was something that happened, maybe a possible affair that caused Kieran's parents to split up. After that, Kieran's mother took custody of Kieran and moved to Atlanta with relatives. There in Atlanta, Kieran's mother married Kieran's stepfather, while Kieran's father stayed in Lakewood as sheriff. Fast forward to 2015, Kieran is actually in Atlanta. The accident happens, and his parents, his mother and stepfather, died in the accident. Kieran actually feels guilty about it, and he blames himself for the death of his parents. He even goes on a state of post-traumatic stress disorder, which ironically is what Emma actually has. Emma also has PTSD or whatever it's called, after seeing her boyfriend Will get killed in Season 1, right in front of her. Kieran could have stayed in Atlanta with his aunt Tina and cousin Eli, but for some strange reason he decided to return back to Lakewood looking for answers and with hopes of starting a new beginning for himself, a new life. But then Season 1 happened, Piper Shaw was killing people, and as a result, Kieran's father died. And one of the reasons why Kieran's father died was because there was miscommunication between Emma and Kieran, which caused his father, Sheriff Clark Hudson, getting involved and getting murdered by Piper Shaw. I believe that maybe Kieran actually has some type of resentment or feeling of guilt towards the death of his father. Although he was not responsible for the death of his father, when he remembers the death of his father, it reminds him a lot of the death of his mother and stepfather that died in the car accident. I believe that just like Emma, Kieran also has PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. There, I've said it right. I believe that for some strange reason, I don't know how, but Kieran found out about Audrey and Piper, and now he wants to exact revenge on Audrey because it was Audrey who brought Piper to Lakewood, resulting in the death of his father. But who knows, maybe Kieran also wants revenge on Emma, or on Emma's mother, because it was actually Emma's mother that caused his parents to get divorced, causing this spiral of events happening, which caused the entire death of his mother and stepfather in Atlanta. This has been part 1 of the Kieran theory. Stay tuned for part 2, as I will be uploading it very soon. Thanks for watching.